And a top focus this hour. Russian President Vladimir Putin has said that Russia was open to peace talks over Ukraine, but the only way to stop the conflict was for the Western countries to end their arms supplies to Kyiv. He said any further mobilization would depend on what Russia wanted to achieve in the ongoing war in Ukraine. Putin added he faced the question only he could answer. That is, should Russia try to take Kyiv again? It has been over 15 months since Putin sent troops into Ukraine. The Russian and the Ukrainian forces are still battling with artillery tanks and drones along a 1,000-kilometer front line. Putin has said that Russia is in no need for a nationwide martial law and would keep responding to breaches of its red lines. Now, many in the United States of America, he said, did not want World War III. Though Washington gave the impression that it was unafraid of escalation. But his most puzzling remark was about Kyiv, which the Russian forces tried and failed to capture just hours after Putin ordered troops into Ukraine. Now, the Russian troops were beaten back from Kyiv and eventually withdrew to a swathe of land in Ukraine's east and south, which Putin has declared is now a part of Russia. Now, Putin further said, and I'm quoting here, "Should we return to Kyiv or not? Well, only I can answer this myself." Ukraine says it will never rest until every Russian soldier is ejected from its land. Putin repeated his accusation that the West was seeking to defeat Russia in Ukraine and said that Moscow had its own peace plan. He underlined that Russia never refused talks that could lead to some kind of peaceful settlement. Listen in.
The key to solve the problem is on their side. If they really want today's conflict to resolve via talks, they just need to take a single decision: stop supplying arms. That's it. Ukraine does not produce anything themselves. Tomorrow they would want peace talks, not formally, but to all intents.
Now, Putin said that Russia was considering withdrawing from the Black Sea grain deal. Now, sea grain deal, he said that the West had cheated Moscow by implementing none of the promises it made to get the Russian agricultural goods to wider global markets. The deal allowing Ukraine to resume seaborne grain exports was brokered by the United Nations and Turkey in July last year in a bid to help and tackle a global food crisis.
We are not doing this for Ukraine. We are doing this for our friendly countries in Africa and Latin America, because grain must go first of all to the poorest countries of the world. And at the same time, we were promised that our grain would not be subjected to such repressions, so to speak, that there would be no obstacles to its export. But unfortunately, we were once again deceived. Nothing has been done in terms of liberalizing the supply of grain to foreign markets.
Meanwhile, some experts view the Russia-Ukraine war as a manifestation of the renewed geopolitical rivalry between major world powers. Experts say that Moscow is seeking to alter the Western-led system prevailing since the end of the Cold War. The Western allies say that the war has broken the entire security architecture built patiently on the European continent over many decades. The 30-nation NATO alliance says it is doing everything possible to avert a war similar to the one that ravaged Europe 80 years ago. Despite the US and its allies' continued ambitious efforts to strengthen the Ukrainians, there are no signs of an endgame in the war. The Russia-Ukraine conflict seems destined to enter an even more complicated phase in the months ahead.